wallpaper and chintz furnishings within. And beyond the terraces and herbaceous borders is a meadow of 1,000 rose bushes, whose flowers are still gathered, just as they have been since the field was planted to Christian Dior's original specifications, to produce an essential ingredient for his perfumes. The first of these, and closest to Christian's heart, was launched alongside the New Look collection and named in honour of his beloved sister Catherine, Miss Dior. Catherine outlived her brother by 5 decades and died in June 2008, not far from La Colle-Noire, at her home in the neighbouring village of Callion. Here, she too cultivated roses, both for her own pleasure and to be distilled as an essence for Dior's perfume manufacturers in nearby Grasse. She had been a loyal and loving sister throughout her brother's life and continued to be so after his death, honouring his legacy in many ways, including her consistent support for the Christian Dior Museum that was eventually established in Granville. But while Christian became one of the most famous Frenchmen in the world, a celebrated name alongside Charles de Gaulle, the remarkable story of Catherine Dior has never been fully explored. The little I knew of her life I had gathered from the Dior archives before I first visited La Colle-Noire. She had lived with Christian in Paris in the late 1930s and shared a small farm with him during the war on the outskirts of Callion, where they grew vegetables as well as roses and jasmine. Then she joined the French resistance and was captured by the Gestapo before being deported to Ravensbrück, a German concentration camp for women. One of the Dior archivists, Vincent Larrey, had come to meet me at La Colle-Noire on this particular Sunday morning to discuss the possibility of me writing a new biography of Christian Dior. Yet as we spoke, I found myself asking him more and more questions about the mysterious Catherine, who appeared to have rarely referred to her involvement in the resistance, nor her time in Germany. Vincent had known Catherine. Before moving to his job at the Dior archives in Paris, he'd worked for the museum in Granville, and they corresponded whenever he had queries that she could answer about her brother. But she gave nothing away of her wartime experiences, and he said that he felt it would have been impolite to press her for more information. As for the other writers who'd previously chronicled the life of Christian Dior, few were particularly interested in Catherine, or even aware of her deportation to Ravensbrück. It was as if the hermetic world of haute couture had no concern for a woman such as Catherine Dior, or for the suffering that she had endured, nor even as to whether her experiences had played a part in her brother's legendary vision of fashion and femininity. I wrote some notes and then walked down to the meadow of roses, where butterflies danced about the petals, accompanied by a chorus of birdsong and bees. All was peaceful, caressed by gentle sunlight, yet as I stood there, I wished with all my heart that I'd met Catherine before her death, a decade previously. And it was then, in that instant, that the seed was sown within me, a desire more akin to obsession, even possession, that I would tell the story of this silent woman and her unknown comrades, who had somehow survived Ravensbrück and returned to France, but to a France where many of their compatriots preferred simply to forget the war years and disregard the shame of collaboration. I did not hear Catherine's voice. The blue skies did not open, but the scent of the roses seemed to contain within it a question. Was it conceivable that so much beauty had arisen from the ashes of the Second World War? And if so, what message might Catherine Dior have for us today, even if she never said another word? Chapter 2. The Garden Maze. A soft rain is falling over the midsummer roses that are blooming in the garden of Les Rumbes, and a sea mist is gathering.